Hi guys, happy Friday! Yay! We need one more. Woohoo! Friday! Okay, all right, enough confetti fun here. Okay, one more. Yay! It's Friday! All right, guys, so for Friday today, we had a very busy day, so please, if you're watching this, get out some notes or something because we had a jam-packed full day of learning and testing and all kinds of fun. And so let's get started. So we started off in math and we were practicing some dividing. So we went to page 3. It started on 367. Get my book here. And this section is for those of you that are looking it up online. It's 10.5 is the start of this. Let me pull up my camera so everybody can see what I'm talking about. All right, so it's 10.5, and we went and jumped right into number 8. So number 8, let me cover my answer here. All right, number 8 talks about Mr. Evan, and Mr. Evan has some origami going on. Hold on, I probably should have gotten organized before I started this. Hold on. All right, Mr. Evan. All right, so and look at that. You can see my answer. Oh my goodness. All right. So we don't need my see-through sheet, I guess. All right. Evan's making origami cranes, and he's making them with red, blue, and yellow paper. So think about what that means. He's going to take the number of cranes that he's making, all this paper, all the colors are going to be the same. So the number of cranes that he makes, however many red ones he makes, it's going to be the same as the blue, and it's going to be the same as the yellow. He's going to make a total of 342 cranes. Oh my goodness. And what we're trying to ask is how many of them are either blue or yellow. So let's get some paper and let's write down what we know about our friend Evan. All right, so Evan, what we know is that he is going to be very, very busy making a whole bunch of cranes, the little origami cranes. He's making 342 total cranes. And we know that he's using red, yellow, and blue paper. So the only information that it gave me is the type of paper he's using, and it said that he's making them all the same size. So since there's 3 colors and they're all going to be the same, I'm going to take my total, my 342, and underneath I'm going to show that same value, but I'm going to show it in 3 different boxes, and this one may be a little bit bigger, but use your imagination. They're all supposed to be the same size. So the yellow box is supposed to be the same as the blue box. The blue box and the yellow box, they're supposed to be the same as this red box here. Okay? So we know that our question is asking us about the yellow and the blue. We want to know how much we have of this yellow and blue. Okay, so that's what we're trying to find out. Now, I'm going to come up with a plan. So I know I've got this total, and I know how many groups I have, but I don't know the number that goes in each group. So I know if I have a total and I have the number of groups, my plan is going to be to divide 342, my total, divide it by how many groups I have, which is 3, and that's going to equal the number of each color, okay, that Evan's going to use. All right, so the number of each color Evan uses is going to be what that answer represents. Now, that is not going to be my answer. Remember, I have to find out how much are going to be either yellow or blue. So what I'm going to have to do is another step, and in that next step, I'm going to have to take however much is yellow and however much is blue, and I'm going to have to add them together. And then finally, that will be my final answer for how much is either yellow or blue. Okay, so this is a multi-step problem. I'm going to have to do one part to get how much is in each box, and then I'm going to have to add these and combine these two things together to see how much they're going to be for the yellow and blue together. All right, so plan number one was to divide. So let's get to dividing. All right, we're going to take our 342 and we are going to divide that by 3. So I'm going to set up my box. I'm doing groups of 3, and I have to put my groups of 3, I'm going to put them over here to the side. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. All right, then I'm ready to go. All right, so here, first, let me scoot this up. First box, if I have 3 of something, I can make a group of 3 because I have enough here. I can make that one group. So I can make one group of 3. Then I'm going to take that 1 and I'm going to make that C shape where I go all the way around back to my box. And I'm going to say, okay, 1 times 3 is 3. Then I'm going to subtract. And I'm going to see, okay, after I made those groups of 3, how many were left over? Well, none were left over because 3 minus 3 is 0. There's a 0 there, so there's nothing to take and put over to the next digit here, the 4. If I have 4, I can use my list, or since this is such a small number, I can draw my dots. Okay, I don't want you drawing like more than 10 dots because you'll be there all day. But if it's just 4, you could draw it if it helps you to see those groups, or you can keep using your list. Either one. But here I can see that just like here, I had 3 dots to make one group. I can't make a second group because I only have 4. I would need 2 more dots here to make another group of 3. So this is one group. Again, I'm going to take my highlighter here to show where I'm going. So I'm going from the 1 to the times 3 all the way back to my middle box. So 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract. And again, if you look here, how many did I have left over? Just 1. So 4 minus 3 is 1. That's what that 1, this one right here and this one, they connect. So that 1 right there is this that's left over after I've made those groups. This 1 is going to go right here, and we're going to make this a 12. Okay, now 12 is more than 10, so I'm not going to draw all those dots. I'm going to go to my list, and I see that 12 is right here. So that means that's one group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4. So 4 goes on top. I'm going to take my 4, and I'm going to multiply it by 3, and I'm going to go all the way around. 4 times 3 is 12. I subtract, and I have no remainder. There's nothing left over. So going back to my first plan up here, the 342 divided by 3, I got that answer. It's 114. Okay, and I can take, just to make sure that I'm correct, I can take that 114 and I can multiply it by 3, and I can just make sure that that is correct. So 100 plus 10 plus 4 came, all that came from the 114. Oops, y'all can't see what I'm doing. Here you go. And then the 3, I don't need to break it down because it's just a 3. So 100 times 3 is 300. 10 times 3 is 30. 4 times 3 is 12. And when I add this up, 300, 30, and 12, I get 342, which is that number that I started with. So I know I divided correctly. So I know my answer's correct. And remember, that number right there, it's not our answer. It's just the number of colors that Evan is using. So remember, he's making 342 cranes, and he's got all these different colored papers. Some of them are yellow, some are blue, some are red, but all of them are the exact same amount. So when we divided that by 3, we got this 114, and that 114 represents how much yellow he has, how much blue he has, and how much red. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. If I added all that together, it would add back up to my total. That's why these boxes are on top of each other. They're showing that they're the same amount. Now, going back to my actual question, it says how many of them are either are either blue or yellow. Well, I've got blue here, yellow here. I'm going to add them up like I said. So 114 plus 114 gives me 228. 4 and 4 is 8. 1 and 1 is 2. 1 and 1 is 2. So 228 are either yellow or blue. Okay, so we did that today. And the big thing that I really wanted everybody to see is just this whole taking a problem and just really, really thinking about it. The whole time I was reading that problem, I'm thinking in my head, okay, what would 342 cranes look like? What would these different stacks, like if you're separating 342, what would these stacks of paper look like? And so I'm thinking in my head, I already knew it was going to be in the hundreds because I've got 300 something. So I'm thinking, okay, I know it's going to be in the hundreds, and I'm thinking about how those stacks would all look the same, and they would just be a different color. And then I'm thinking about, okay, what would it look like if I combine the yellow and blue, and just having all of those thoughts and those visualizations happening as I'm thinking about this. And then I just take it and I find a way to represent it on paper. So drawing out the diagrams with these bars here and just really just taking, okay, this information was given to me. I know that these boxes are the same because they're the same amount. I know that they're going to add up to 342. So just representing it down on paper, coming up with a plan how you're going to get the information that you need to solve for your problem, and just really keeping track of what these numbers mean. Like, so many people I bet would say, oh, 114 is the answer, because they didn't really understand what the question and the story is about. They were just happy to get an answer to something. Okay, this is not the answer. That's just how many yellow, blue, and red there are. The actual question says either yellow or blue, so you had to go a step further. So just really stopping, thinking, and not just jumping in, not just finding numbers to do random things with, really stopping and thinking about the story, using all those reading skills that we have and applying it to math. Okay? So that was that. Alrighty, let me get out of this. All right, so independent work, we went and we did this SLO check. So I need, if you were absent today, I needed this this morning, so I need this as soon as possible, because the fourth grade teachers are meeting with the administration next week, and we are talking about our progress on how we're doing with these. So these were story problems that at the beginning of the year, the fourth grade teachers picked these out, and we said, okay, these styles of questions, these are, some of the ones that are most challenging for students. We want to make sure that this group of fourth graders, that they are fully supported in solving these styles of questions and this, this type of math and things like that. This is a standard that, it's one of our lower scoring ones because it's multi-step. It's got this one standard, it could be addition, it could be subtraction, multiplication, division, it could be a combination of the two. It could include whole numbers, it could include decimals. So it's a pretty heavy, big one of our TEKs, one of our standards. And so we're tracking it to see like how we're doing throughout the year. Beginning of the year, not so pretty, but it was understandable because we hadn't even taught division and multiplication. This time around, it's looking a lot better because we've gone over multiplication, we've gone over division now, and so the scores this time around are looking a lot better, which is exactly what we want. And then the next time we do it, they should look even better because we've had even more practice. So, this here is just 5 questions. You have to show your work, though. You cannot just put an answer and circle it and consider yourself done. I have to see how you're doing it. Okay, it's not for a grade. It is simply just a how are you doing? Are you able to solve this yet? What other support do you need? Some people, like on some of these problems, is it just you didn't read it carefully enough about what information is given? Is it that you don't know how to do the math? So go through here. You've already seen these before, so they'll probably look familiar. Go through each of these 5, and again, I need them today, as soon as possible, because I have to prepare to talk to Miss Kim, Miss Orihuela, and Mr. Purcell next week. So I got to get those graded. All right, so that high priority. Next, Next, you have your independent work on page 372, 9 through 14. Again, that's just some division word problems. And make sure you're practicing those, breaking down the stories just like I modeled in that problem that we did together. Then, in reading, we continued our lesson on theme. So that is in Seesaw. Oops. Hold on. Wrong Seesaw. All right. Seesaw. Reading. All right. All the way at the end. Or while I'm here. So this can be turned in today because it's Friday. It's turn in day. So these are everything that we've gone through. So you should have page 3 filled out. You should have page 6 filled out. Page 7. Page 8. Page 10. Page 11. Page 14. And page 16 will be today. So we read the story Pinkie's Promise. So this is about a girl who is obsessed with the color pink. She is my kind of gal. I love pink. So she is all things pink. And she gets with her neighbor and she learns about gardening and about roses. And she starts her own garden in her own yard and just gets really involved with it and comes up with her own like hybrid different types of flowers with all different color shades of pink and everything. And as cool as that sounds, she's kind of mocked at school and she's kind of like called this weirdo and people think she's weird and they kind of ignore her and all her things that she's doing, but she kind of just doesn't pay attention to it and she just keeps doing what she's doing. Well, she ends up going through and she goes to this competition. And so in the competition, she does really well. And then all of a sudden, people at school are like paying, more attention to her because she kind of gets her 15 minutes of fame and stuff like that. So throughout the story, so please read this. Throughout the story, the author is teaching you a lesson through Amelia. So read that story, and then it continues on page 16. And then we broke off into groups, and kids solved these together. So sorry if you weren't here, you are on your own, but they weren't too difficult. So this one is just coming up with a theme. What's that lesson? What was her obsession? What first introduced her to or who introduced her to gardening? So these are just some comprehension questions, but I really want you to think with that theme And if you're still kind of stuck on what that is, make sure you're going back to these first pages here where we start talking about theme and how it's a lesson, and it's, that making that connection to what the author is trying to teach you through that, and really try to come up with a good one. So there's ideas, different ones here, things like that. I'm not saying that the answer is here, but these are just some examples that are some common themes that you'll see through stories and things like that. Let's see, the reading independent work, you should have finished your reading yesterday, and the comprehension questions are at the end. So make sure you have those 5 done. And then for reading today, we did it's called the CFA Spring. It's in Aware. It was a real short, and this is kind of like the math thing, but it's for reading. It's just like I told the kids, I'm sorry. You guys are a testing grade. You have a reading test at the end of the year. You have a math test at the end of the year. You have a writing test. And so they want us to do just, it's another one of those standards that's a big, heavy one. And it's on, most of the things were on cause and effect. And so the district and the school, they just asked us to do this to see, how we're doing with this one standard. Do we need to revisit it more? Are we doing really well with it? Do we need more practice? Like, what's going on with this? And so it was just a short little passage on Aware. So you need to go to your Launchpad, and mine looks different, but type in up here, type in Aware, and yours will come up in a little green box that says online testing for Aware. And when you go to it, it is the one that is called CFA. So this is not in Aware. I'm just typing it so you can see it. It's not in Launchpad. You have to go to the Aware thing. So CFA, it says something like spring. It says something like reading G4, something like that. But it's the one that says CFA and reading. So please do that, and please do your very, very best on that so we can really show them that we've got that down. Almost everybody had nice passing, beautiful scores, showing that we learned that really well. So do a good job on that. Take your time and really focus and make sure you're getting those right. It's like I said, it's only four questions, so shouldn't take too long. But again, take your time. So I did not pull groups today due to that testing. And then just like the SLO for Seesaw, I have to get this done. So please, 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 if you are absent today, you've got a 3-day weekend. You've got a 3-day weekend. Please try to catch up and make sure all this stuff is getting turned in as soon as possible. Alrighty. In writing today, so writing, we have a adverbs quizzes that is over here. I already put week 20 at the top because I had pulled out some of the things that are going to carry over to next week. So everything under this week 19 folder or topic here should be completed. So the writing adverb questions, we've been talking about adverbs this week. The first part is just some editing and things, some old things that are kind of just a review. And then the last set is all on adverbs. Then, all right, composition. So going here, activities. We talked again today about our writing. So writing today, let me see, do I still have hold on, let me see if I still have it. No, let me see what I did with it. Science. I guess I threw it away. No, I'll probably find it the second. Let me see. Nope, I'll probably find it the second I get off here. All right. So, we talked a little bit more about the conclusion. And so just really thinking about this right here, you're writing about someone who made the world a better place. And so the key word we talked about, well, first we talked about this. So let me back up a little bit. So made the world a better place. So blank made the world a better place. And you're explaining why you think that person is important. So blank is important because blank. Okay, so here, these were some of the big things that you should have in your paper. So in your introduction, when you're introducing your person that you picked, you need to say, there are many people that are or that have, really impacted us and the way that we live. Martin Luther King is someone that has made the world a better place. Let me explain why he's so important. Then you say Martin Luther King is important because blank. And then you say another reason he's important is because blank. And then you say last, one of the other things that makes him such an important, person throughout history is that he blank. And so you're using these key things that came from the prompt, and you've got to have them represented in your paper. Okay, it has to be there. Then at your conclusion needs to start off with a transition. So you're going to say something like in conclusion, or as you can see, comma. So that's my transition. I'm going to put T for transition. Okay, so as you can see, Martin Luther King Jr. As you can see, Martin Luther King Jr. Made or has made the world a better place. I'm restating that central idea. As you can see, Martin Luther King has made the world a better place by doing blank, comma, and blank. Okay, so you're going to restate those reasons. You're kind of going to summarize them. You're not going to say every little thing that you said above, but you're going to quickly summarize those main points that you made above in your body. So this part right here, this is me going back over my central idea. This part right here is I'm just going to put S for summary. I'm kind of summarizing what I said above. And then you're going to make a hope or wish. So I hope you see, after hearing, or after, let's say, reading all of these, I hope you see, after reading all of these important things that he has done for us. All right, I hope you see, after reading all of these important things that he has done for us, that he has made the world a much better place to live. All right. So as you can see, Martin Luther King Jr. has made the world a better place by blank, blank, and blank. I hope you see, after reading all of these important things that he has done for us, that he has made the world a much better place to live in. Period. Okay. So a hope or a wish, and that is a good way of wrapping up that last sentence. So conclusion, again, has a transition. You restate your central idea. You don't say it the exact same way, you just restate it. You summarize the things that you said above, and you leave it with a hope or a wish. Okay? So we'll talk more. I wanted everybody to go ahead and turn in their writing, and so I wanted to look at it, and I'm giving some suggestions and things like that, and then I'm just sending it once I give some suggestions of maybe a thing or two to go look at. I'm sending it back because I want you to. We're going to revisit it next week, and we'll work on this next week too. So if I send it back, don't be like, oh, I just turned this in. Just know this is a working document that is still being worked on. So hang tight on that. Don't turn it back. Don't keep turning it back into me. We're going to save it for next week. All right, so that was writing. For science today, we hopped over to Brainpop. And before we watch the video, now I just saw this. Clean my desk. All right. We took some notes on clouds. So please take these notes. You can stop this video and pause it and make sure you get all this because we're uploading this to Seesaw for part of our grade. And so this is all about clouds that we talked about today. So it says the air all around us is full of water vapor. We learned back when we talked about the water cycle that water vapor is a gas. When it cools, it condenses around particles of dust and smoke to make these tiny water droplets. So you get millions of these guys together, millions of these water droplets together, and they form clouds. And so clouds form when millions of these get together. And then when it's really cold, instead of making the water droplets, they condense and they form ice crystals. Okay, so if it's really, really cold out, they form those ice crystals. Now, the water droplets, if you have a cloud that's made up of the water droplets, the cloud could look thick. If it's really thick, it might be kind of gray in color, and the edges are going to look solid. If it's made up of ice crystals, then the cloud is going to look almost pure white, and it's going to have more of some fuzzy edges. All right, so here's some different types of clouds. All right, we have ones that look like cotton balls. They're big, they're puffy, they're white. Okay, those are those ones that like when you're drawing, your little house and you're putting some clouds, those are those big puffy white clouds that we always add to our photos. I've probably been drawing my clouds the same way since kindergarten, always like that. All right, then sometimes we have some other ones that these are kind of more in layers. This is kind of like the fog that you sometimes see in the morning. They're not these big round puffy shapes like you see. And then the other ones, these are kind of feather-like. They're made up of ice crystals, so they're that bright white color, and they have very wispy edges. So they just kind of look like they're barely there, just like kind of feather-like. All right, so then after that, so I hope you were go ahead, like I said, pause at different points and make sure you put that in I just put this on construction paper, make like a little anchor chart, but you could put this in your science notebook. And then after that, we headed over to Brainpop, and we get to Brainpop by going to Launchpad, and you just type in brain, and once you start typing, it'll pop up, pop up. And it's the regular one, not the others. So just the regular Brainpop. And then once it loads, now mine looks a little bit different because I'm the teacher mode, but yours will have a notification up at the top, and it'll have the video that we watched on clouds, and it'll have the quiz that we did. So you can use your notes, do the notes first before this, because you can use your notes on the quiz, and it goes over the same thing. So make sure you're looking at those different clouds. It'll show you like not like Miss Snyder's horrible drawing of these clouds, but like actual what they actually look like, so you can see those. So make sure you watch the video, and then do those questions, and that'll be for a science grade this week. So make sure you try your best on that, and then make sure you upload your my mouse. Make sure you upload your cloud notes right here, because that'll be part of the grade that goes with the Brainpop quiz. All right, so that was science. And then in social studies, we finished up our week 19. So you can go to the Friday portion of that and make sure that that gets turned in. And then again, everything in this column right here under this topic, week 19, it's Friday. So please make sure all of this, see how mine are nice and green? We want them to be grayed out, meaning they are complete. Then once they're complete, make sure you keep checking back and checking to see, okay, am I happy with that grade that I got? Is there something that I need to go back and correct? So things like the writing adverb quizzes, that's already been graded. The its and its has already been graded. Well, a couple of those have been graded. None of those, and then that was the map. So some of these have already been graded. So if you're not happy with your grade, go back, make those corrections. Same thing with week 18. Week 18 is all the way down here at the bottom because we already did it. All of this should be grayed out. Nothing should be this dark green color, and you should be able to go in, click view the assignment, and make sure that you're happy with those grades. So that was that. In Seesaw, these are the things that got turned in today. So you have the cloud notes. There's a couple drawing Fun Friday things here that we did. I'll leave these up so that you have them over the weekend. SLO progress for sure, for sure, for sure. Please turn that in. You have your writing. I want to see that, but remember, I'm going to give it right back to you once I check it. So read the comments, and then that'll be there for next week. This week 19 reading whole group activities, we finished that today, so that can be turned in. Your independent reading work is done. That can be turned in. And that was it. All right, guys, so please let me know if you have any questions, and please make sure you're getting all that in. And I hope you have a great 3-day weekend, and take some time to do something fun with your family that's safe. And but first, you got to get all your work in. So make sure you get all your work in today so you can enjoy your 3 days off, so you're not stuck doing schoolwork the whole time. All right. Ooh. Oh, I'm dropping things. All right. Bye, guys.